Hey guys, welcome back. Let me start this episode out by giving credit where credit is due. The intro for this entire month was put together by San Antonio death metal band, The Destroyer of Worlds. Thank you guys so much for letting me use it for the intro and the outro. Thank you, David Fitzgerald, for letting me use Another Restless Thought for the Facts Forged from Metal. Let's get into it.
The nation's top scientists on the
virus. The Center for Disease Control
is to watch for our
Is it airborne?
unbelievable hunger.
regenerates dead tissue.
Health hazard or military concern.
Is to shoot them in the head.
To avoid becoming a victim of an attack.
Again, to remain calm and wait for further instructions from authorities.
Okay. Welcome back, everybody, to the final chapter in March Mad Metalness. We are talking to Martyred from Austin, Texas. I talked to a very tired Mike DeBord. Mike, thanks for chatting with me, dude. I know you had a really long day at work, and I can hear the exhaustion in your voice, but I appreciate you taking time to sit and talk about the development of this. I think it's really interesting because Mike is actually the guitar player who sort of curated Martyred and is pulling together singers and drummers, bassists from different projects of really high caliber. And we get into it here. He does a lot of name dropping in the metal community. I've even heard a lot of these names, and I'm very unversed in that scene. So for you metalheads, there's definitely some recognizable figures here in this interview. And this is going to be the last episode of Metal that we have for at least another month. After this, I discuss what is going to be next month's theme. I'm not going to do themes every month, but it just so happens that we have 2 theme months in a row. And I'll explain after the interview and after the music. We are going to be listening to music from the newest album, or EP rather. It was out February 2018, very fresh. It's called Dawn of Terror, and we're going to listen to 4 songs off of it. It's so funny. I laugh because Dawn of Terror. People that are new to this show, just so you know, this is a entire month of basically the hardest and unique metal that I could find being made right now. And this is some of the best stuff that we've had on here with respect to all the bands we've had: Squidhead, Iliad, and the whole group, Arkansas. This one here, they're Texas boys all around, and Mike's a really down to earth dude. So let's get into it here. The first song we're going to listen to has a lyric video on YouTube that you can go watch. It's called Homicidal Parasomniac, and it is off of the Dawn of Terror EP. So without further ado, everybody, enjoy the show. talking to Mike from Martyred.
Yeah, man.
You know, Austin and San Antonio are sort of really huge stomping grounds for a lot of really great metal bands and a lot of hard music in general. Have you found a place in that scene, bands that you like to book shows with, or are you guys just kind of getting started? Kind of fill me in on where you're at as far as progress goes with Martyred.
I mean, the band's been around for a while. There's been periods of time where it was not as active as others. We, formed in 2003. Did a demo, 2-song promo CD thing. Then a couple of years later, we did a follow-up. We did an EP, Exemplifying Their Defeat EP, which was mixed and mastered by Jacob Hansen. Had Eric Park of Devourment. He was on drums on that. Then we had Krieg, he's still in this current project on vocals. Nathan Finoglio on bass, and it was me on guitars. We put that out, and we played some shows here, regionally here in Texas. I guess due to work schedules and things like that, people's, in and out the band life. We played live for probably about 2 years. We kind of just it was on hold after a while. I mean, just due to the fact that people were all over the place. Like our drummer, he was up in Denton. I was in Austin and things like that. So then after that, we ended up, once on this last effort, I did all the pre-production stuff with Kevin Talley. And, he's out of San Antonio. I've known Kevin since 96, back when he was in Deity. It was like one of his first bands.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we got to talking about, that I was working on stuff. So, then we started working on stuff together with that. Kind of brought it back together, as initially as a studio project to see, and I mean, ideally we'd like to, play live, maybe some European festivals. Hopefully some regional shows. We don't have any tour plans just because of our, everybody's in different places kind of, so to set anything up, we just have to plan it out in advance.
Well, you got a, something to go out there and at least perform and sort of promote yourselves with. The artwork's beautiful on it. The orchestration on it was just super awesome. The videos he put together as well, the lyric videos were really well done. It really fit the feeling of the song, and it sort of put a little bit of terror in there. And for somebody who has nightmares all the time, it was, it kind of puts a little bit of anxiety in there. It's very adrenaline fueled. So I definitely appreciated the lyric videos. Those were really cool.
Oh, cool. Yeah, those are fun. Reason, we did or opted for the lyric videos was that guest vocals were featured on 2 of those songs. So, or each of the songs. Sven DeKalu of Aborted, he's been a friend of mine for quite a while, since 98. So I guess that's been 20 years. I talked to him as I was putting these together and asked him if he would be interested in doing vocals and on one of the tracks, and he said he'd be totally, down for it. He's always been supportive of the music. He's liked it, so that was cool that he was wanting to do that. Ricky Myers, he's in Suffocation full time now. Frank is, he's no longer full time in it. I think at one point he was still in the project, but I think he just recently announced that he's finished with Suffocation. So Ricky's filled his shoes permanently as of now. So it's kind of cool. Ricky actually was playing drums in Martyred for a while back in, I guess it was like 2009, somewhere around that, 2008, I think. And then shortly after that, he moved back to San Diego, got Disgorge going, and again, and then he was doing that for a while, and then he ended up jumping into Suffocation. So he's doing really well. I know he loves doing that, so pretty cool. He's a great dude.
Yeah, it's like all the vegetables in the garden kind of grew together.
Everything. Yeah, it was awesome, man. I mean, I feel lucky because, knowing these people and working with them and, just over the years being able to, I feel fortunate to be able to, that they would want to be part of my art or my vision and music, It's pretty awesome to have such badass dudes.
Yeah, and it really helped with the range too on the EP. For not such a lengthy production, there was quite a range of stuff you were able to do there with the guest vocalist. Okay, let's take a quick break here and listen to the title track off of the new EP, Dawn of Terror by Martyred. Did you do any South by stuff this year? Did you partake in any South
No,
by festivities?
honestly, I just tried to avoid it.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't want to sound like a asshole or anything, but
No,
I
I was
just
the
was
same
like,
way.
I had absolutely no interest. I mean, there was a couple of shows. I think that Gate Creeper was playing a free show, and I thought, well, that'd be cool to go check
Mm.
them out. I don't know those guys or anything, but I think their music's pretty cool. So
Yeah, if you could helicopter in, maybe. It's just the craziness of that area and parking and Ubers and it's like such a headache that time of year.
Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah. I was a local
It's
up
too
there for
much.
I'm out of Bandera now, but I actually lived up there for about 4 years and it just got increasingly more insane to where I was the same way, like, oh shit, it's South by? Oh man, yeah, I work doubles. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, 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 exactly.
I don't want to drive. Just
Yeah,
keep me here.
I worked at doing, as far as doing video production stuff a couple of years in a row, but I didn't this year, and so it was just nuts even doing that stuff. It was just, yeah, there's definitely a lot going on with that. I just
So how long have you been
I'd
doing
rather.
your precision media? How long have you had that together?
Oh, presents.
Oh, presence. I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, that's fine. Yeah, 2013. I worked for a production company for probably 3 years before. Then I decided to venture off and do our own thing. I actually started it with my wife, so it's pretty cool how that came about. I mean, the first year was pretty brutal because, we didn't have a lot of clients and things like that, so it was kind of slow. But then once things started picking up, it definitely has its benefits and it definitely has its stresses, running your
Mm-hmm.
own thing. So the
It
feast
work.
or famine thing.
Yeah, and working with other people's visions always really hard too. And kind of having to sort of just sacrifice your artistic input for somebody else's cheese
Hmm.
sometimes. That's always a
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's true. Yeah, because there's times where, yeah, you definitely run into that where you just have to sit back and say, okay, that's what you
mm-hmm.
want. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're paying the bill right now, so
right.
I dabble in weddings every now and then, and it's super stressful.
Yeah. The bigger stuff, the bigger the production, the more stress. But I mean, if it's planned right, then you can execute it. It doesn't always go, it never really goes exactly how you think it's going to, but the more pre-planning with anything, then the smoother it's going to go. I would love to do more, videos and things like that. I think it's fun and helping people out depending on what their budget is and whatnot. I understand how that is. I'm not like be all ridiculous, but it does. The more depending on how elaborate the production is, of course, that's what increases it. So it just depends on what
Hmm.
their budget is. But try to be as fair as possible, with that kind of thing.
Yeah, a lo-fi band can get away with a lo-fi video, so it's like,
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, even with music, if you think it out and you just take the time it doesn't have to take for years. I mean,
hmm
ideally, I would have liked to have had this Donatello wrapped up, but I mean, waiting on the components and things like that, as far as like waiting on the artwork, waiting on the mixes, things like that, that takes time, and I think it's worth it in the end. I think if you just keep continually writing, like just and don't stop, just then you've got all this in the queue, so there's things that are moving. And then it's
hmm
kind of like the balls out of your court or out of your hands. It's just like, okay, now I've done that, and I could go on to something else.
Yeah, and you, of course, the more you write, the closer you reach that state of mastery. Uh, like Bob Dylan, for instance, since he's already been brought up, that guy can probably write 5 songs a day if that's all he wanted to do. They may sound like other songs, but his ability to just sit there and write and actually complete something because he's been doing it for so long, the ability for anybody to do that is there. It's just your ability to stick to that, to hold true to your challenge, of challenging yourself to actually write all the time. I see so many bands, it's almost as though there is no real system for how people put out music, because there's bands like this that started out so long ago and have only put out a little bit, but when they do it, it's because they finally pulled together everybody who they want to be in there, and it means that much more. It wasn't
Hmm.
rushed or whatever it is. And then there's some bands that they live together and they work together and they put out fucking EPs every month. And it's like,
Yeah,
slow down, guys. This
yeah,
isn't a
and that's
competition.
awesome.
And they're,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, exactly. I don't think of it as a competition. I just being able to put out stuff, in a steady rhythm is more fulfilling than having any stagnant parts or time. So being able to work through this effort and make this happen, it's built up momentum to where once you're in the groove, you just want to keep going, you know? So I think things will start moving along more now that there's a system. In the meantime, I'm waiting for, or trying to set things up for the future as far as any kind of performing live performances. I want to, just keep writing in the meantime, just to keep stuff coming out as much as I can in between work and things like that. But
Hell yeah, man.
uh,
Let us take another quick break. Listen to Torment Unbound off of the Dawn of Terror EP, which is available on bandcamp.com right now. Anything pressing that you want to promote? Any shout outs, any hellos, anything like that you want to throw out before we wrap it?
say what's up to Ed Rohn. He's a good friend of mine. He was actually in. We actually were working together and Martyred stuff a while back, and he's out in Hawaii now. But yeah, he used to work with or he was in a project with Dallas Tyler Weight of Nile called Teratosis out in North Carolina before Dallas joined Nile, and now he was in a side project that now is Dallas's full-time Narcotic Wasteland. I think it's pretty cool that they were able to, after all those years, being good friends, and that they were in that band before, Dallas went on to do Nile, and then they're in that project together after all those years. I think that's cool.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Well, cool, brother. Well, it was
cool, man. It was good.
It was, dude. It was really good to talk to you. I'm glad we got to get you in here.
Take it easy, and it was good talking to you.
Yeah, you too. I'll send you links and everything when I get it all edited. All right, later, brother. Have a good night.
Okay, cool, man. Yeah.
Let's listen to one more song from Martyred of Austin, Texas, off of the Dawn of Terror EP. This is Imperial Erudition.
Insatiable greed, this goes into the soul.
It's time for another
Facts Forged from Metal.
Facts Forged from In today's Fact Forged from Metal, we honor a fallen metal maverick. In the summer of 1966, while Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin were preparing to take the world by storm some few years later, there was born a torchbearer so awesome that he would go on to inspire metal lovers for years to come. Daryl Lance Abbott grew up in Arlington, Texas, a young Kiss fan from an early age, would pick up a guitar, begin recording homemade cassettes, and entering them to local contests, scooping up the winnings time and time again. And as he grew older, he became increasingly obsessed with new acts such as Slayer, Metallica, and Venom. Alongside his brother Vinnie Paul, in 1981, Daryl formed Pantera. He would find his way into the careful wings of his idols, tour the world over many times, enjoying major success into the late 90s, until tensions over drug use forced members of Pantera to cut ties in 2003. Dimebag Daryl would fill many shoes in the realms of metal, writing songs with Judas Priest and Anthrax, even finding his way onto the SpongeBob SquarePants soundtrack at some point. All of this before forming Damage Plan in 2003 with his brother once again, and hitting the road for one last tour. For sadly, it was on this tour in Columbus, Ohio, that Daryl and 3 others would lose their lives to a crazed 25-year-old Marine who would shoot Abbott 5 times in the head and would go on to fire 15 more rounds into the crowd. And although he would die tragically, Daryl still holds very high standing in the hearts of all of his fans to this day. This has been today's Fact Forged from Metal. We hope you all have learned something. And that right there, ladies and gentlemen, is going to wrap it up for March Mad Metalness. I want to thank the 400 plus new subscribers that we got this month. Thank you guys from all over the United States, from Germany. We have a Mexican listener, so hola. And we are just thrilled, tickled pink about all this. So we will do it again next year. And of course be sprinkling tons of metal in all throughout the year. If you didn't, you can't see me, but I just threw my hands up in excitement. Thank you once again to the Destroyer of Worlds. I'm gonna miss this outro. Thank you to all of our metalheads. Okay, as promised, there is a special announcement. I come from a small town in Central Texas, and I don't feel like that's any different than a small town in Central anywhere. The challenges that are posed to artists are obvious. There's not many venues. The crowds are usually the hardworking and go to bed early type. So you're sort of forced to use other ways of getting your entertainment out there. Like maybe creating a festival or throwing a huge house party or however you do it. Maybe you have a once a month meetup. However you do it, you're in a small town, you're pushing for it. And it's slowly happening for you if you're trying. You're seeing that, and you're starting to notice that this tiny little town all of a sudden is, just teeming with talent. And my little town is no different. It's Bandera, Texas, and we are officially the cowboy capital of the world. But after living here almost 30 years, I can tell you that today's society, today's population here is very diverse, and the love of music is very diverse as well. Next month, I have the honor and the privilege of bringing you some of Bandera's most, esteemed and well-grounded, we'll say that. Some of my favorite people in the world, and they just happen to be artists. I have the honor of hooking up and talking to them all of next month in what I'm calling the first annual Hometown Homage. $50 Dynasty, Lee Winwright, Professor Julius, Lee Hale, and Holland McKay with special guest host. It is an entire month dedicated to my sleepy little town of Bandera, Texas. So I really hope that I can keep the attention of our worldwide listeners so I can introduce you to where I come from and a lot of the bands that we've talked to. We do a lot of describing what it's like to be here day to day, to grow up here, the evolution, and we also listen to some of the art that was made here. We listen to the music. And I introduce you guys to just more great artists. They just all happen to be from here. And then after that, I really don't have any themes. So if you're a band looking to get your band on, please apply. Go to trialbyerrorvarietyshow.com and submit your band. Go to band submissions. Check out what is in store for you. Check out the featured artist page and see what we're doing there. How we put all your stuff up and immortalize you in our little unsigned band Wikipedia. You can support us on Patreon if you want to throw some money at us. If you're a millionaire and you want to invest in something, you can see your investment turn around. Give me 5 years. But you can see it turn around tenfold, I assure you. And, if you're looking to explore new music, this podcast is just diverse in all ways. We're always trying to find new people to host it. We're trying to find new bands to feature from every genre, from every walk of life, from all over the globe. So there's really no better place to find more music than here, really. Tell your friends about it. And if you don't want to listen to the interviews, in fact, maybe you can't stand the interviews, and this is the first time you're realizing that, like, oh my God, he's nailing it. Like his voice and the things he says, I can't stand it. But I love the music. I wish I could just skip right. You can. I'll shut up right there, and you can skip all these interviews and go to Spotify, and there's a huge playlist of all the bands that we featured that have their music on Spotify. It's all right there. Hit shuffle. Explore. Cut the bullshit. You don't have to hear anybody talk. Maybe talking's not your thing. Maybe you already fell asleep before I said this. Wake up. Go check out the Spotify playlist. That's it, you guys. That is it. Whew. It's been a long month. Thank you so much to my beautiful soulmate, Stacy, for helping me put this together and doing all the research and calming a very quiet baby who's going through teething and growing pains. And thank you to David for sitting in and co-hosting and hooking me up with that music. Thank you to Garrett for helping me and trying to form a song. It didn't work out. Maybe next time. Kmart, same thing. You too, bud. Snake Bros podcast. Let's see. Who else do I got to shout out to? Shit, man. I don't know. I guess that's it. Maybe if I think of something, I'll include it next time. But that's it, you guys. Take care of one another. Please take care of one another. This world's shitty enough without you guys giving each other hugs and pats on the backs and rewarding each other for the good things. And as I always say to close this show,
Follow the golden rule.